Welcome back, listeners. Today we are dropping another episode in our series titled The Notifications North Star, sponsored by our good friends at Courier. Courier is developer infrastructure for product notifications, making it easier to deliver the notification experience that your customers expect. In our series, we'll be talking to customers, developers, and stakeholders within the notification space to learn about their notification strategy, how important it is, and how Courier is helping to solve this problem for product builders and developers alike. Well, today I have a special guest on the Code Story podcast again, Troy Goode, the founder and CEO of Courier. He's a multi-startup veteran, a Y Combinator veteran, and as I mentioned, he's a prior guest on Code Story Season 4. Troy, thank you for being on Code Story today.
Hey, Noah, thanks for having me back. It's great to see you.
Before we go too far, and for those that may have forgotten since Season 4, tell my audience a little bit about you.
Look, I'm an engineer by trade, software development for a couple of decades now, and have led engineering teams for startups for most of my career. But more recently, I'm the founder and CEO of Courier. We're a software development platform that helps power notifications for software companies across the world.
So I got to know more. I've read the headlines. I've talked to the team. Tell me about the big raise from Google Ventures, the $35 million raise. Tell me more about that.
We're incredibly excited to be partnering with Sangeet Zeb and Google Ventures, as well as our existing investors who participated in the round. You know, it's been a wild 3 years. So we started the company in April of 2019, raised our first couple of rounds of funding quite early, and then just went heads down building the best product that we could build, and building, candidly, the product that I wished I had, and the reason why I started Courier. We had the good fortune as a well-capitalized early-stage startup of being able to really focus on that product market fit journey. We were fortunate to find it, which is always the big risk in the early days. As we found it, we started to build out our go-to-market team and build out the motion and mechanics of turning an idea into a business. We reached the point where we said, now we need additional capital to fuel that growth, and started looking for the right partner to help join the next stage of the journey.
I love it. And it sounds like you've got partners that have stuck with you through the journey as well. And, you know, considering the successes of finding product market fit, of gaining some traction with Courier, now you're needing more capital, you know, it puts you in a position where you can sort of be choosy. You can pick and choose who you want to partner with in the long term. Why Google Ventures? Why have them be the partner you choose?
You know, we've been very fortunate in that there's always been a lot of interest in Courier. It's champagne problems of having to choose who's the best fit. And, you know, I think that the common shared advice that I certainly stand behind is it's partner over firm. And so Sangeet was a major part of the decision of who we went with. Sangeet and I have been in close contact since shortly after we raised our A, and he started reaching out to me when he was actually at a fund prior to Google Ventures. Really understood our space and the pain points that we're dealing with better than most, and has just been a fantastic kind of value add partner throughout the journey, even when he wasn't on the cap table. That was a big part of it, but there's a lot of great partners out there, and there were other excellent partners that we were also similarly excited about. And so one of the things that adds to that decision-making process is Google Ventures, the firm. And when you look at how we've made decisions for prior round, right? Matrix Partners led our seed round, and they're a fantastic firm. Pat Malatak, fantastic investor who I still talk to multiple times every week. And we used to stand shoulder to shoulder at the whiteboard doing API design. Previously, head of product at Twilio from the early days to post IPO. Our Series A led by Bessemer Venture Partners, Byron Dieter, there on the board at Twilio. So part of what we also look for is leveraging expertise in the specific domain where Courier sits, right? Making sure that we're able to say it's not just capital, it's not just good advice, but it's also expertise and connections within this broader communication API ecosystem. And obviously Google Ventures is, well, the Google's in the name, and they happen to be the largest provider of push notifications for mobile and web. And that was a big missing piece of our investor portfolio, if you will. We already had the number one email service provider, SendGrid, as an investor, number one SMS provider, Twilio, as an investor, number one workplace chat provider, Slack, as an investor. So we wanted to round that out. And that was, I guess, the cherry on top of the Sangeet ice cream.
That's the dream team. You put together the dream team of an investment crew to help advise you on all of those things. So enhanced mobile functionality. It's a new focus. What is planned on the Courier roadmap?
Look, a little bit of background. I'm an email guy. That's really my background. I used to lead engineering for a large email marketing automation company, Eloqua, which we took public and sold to Oracle. And so when I started Courier, I knew how to build the email part really well. And we have a lot of alum and insights into the SMS side and the workplace chat. And so we built out a great platform there. But what we were hearing from our customers is the mobile side of Courier just wasn't where it should be. That, as we came into 2022, became a big focus of mine. Let's make sure that when developers are sending notifications, part of the vision is they shouldn't have to care about whether it's going to email or Slack or SMS or push. And unfortunately, that means that our bar has to be high across the board. So part of what we're doing with our announcements this week is talking about that next generation of mobile push functionality from Courier and really elevating that channel up to the high standard that we've already developed for all of the additional channels.
That's fantastic. Okay, so for this, notifications North Star, earlier we've talked to Eric from Lattice, and his big thing was mentioning notifications support 50% of their engagement, which is wow, so critical to their platform, and it makes a ton of sense. We also talked with Pat. You mentioned Pat, and you talk to him regularly still at Matrix, who mentioned Courier being a significant part of layer 2 infrastructure, right? Being that notifications, messaging, communication layer, right? And then we spoke with Vitasha, who talked about how empowering the app was to use as a customer. Super cool that she was a customer before becoming an engineer. Great story. So then we've got that as the foundation. Keep the movie playing forward. Where do you see this going next?
I think the next stage of the journey, right, is thinking about that layer that Pat talked about, thinking about that layer as essentially not just a layer of infrastructure, but a layer of your application's user experience. And one of the things we talk to customers a lot about is thinking about notifications as part of your UI. And it's actually the part of your UI that your users engage with most frequently and first. There's very few applications that you use day to day where you just choose to go take a look, right? You've got media sites that you consume for sure, but even a lot of the media sites you consume because of a notification that came to you. A lot of your other applications, again, very few that you're just like religiously going into of your own choice, right? Most of them are saying, hey, there's something here for you, whether it be letting you know that somebody else is inviting you to look at something, or whether it be something, a summary that's happening of here's all the engagement and all the activity that's happened recently, come take a look. So that user experience, that UI, is something that I don't think enough companies consider as a first-class citizen of their overall product. Where are we going next is really saying, let's think about Courier not only as that communication infrastructure under the hood layer 2, but also this extension of your product into the user's pocket, into the user's inbox, and saying we want that part of that experience to be compelling and also consistent with the rest of your experience and as easy to develop as it is to build out your next page of your React app or another screen of your Swift app.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. Framing notifications as a layer of the user experience. And that's absolutely true today. And I'm sure this is happening, but I'm curious, how are you educating? How is Courier educating the market on treating notifications as at that layer? I've seen a few things float around, but give me a little more context there on how you're educating people to think about it that way.
It's something we're still navigating. And that's part of what we're going to be investing in heavily as a result of this latest round of funding. It's a double-edged sword, Noah, because we're not going out and trying to convince anyone to start sending messages to their users. They're already doing that. And so what we're going out and saying is, are you thinking about it the right way? And are you building the thing that you actually wish you were building? Or is it just too expensive and thus you're kind of delivering half a solution? And is that really what is the best thing for your users or the best thing for your team or your company? So part of it is kind of helping educate the market on the realm of the possible, right? What can be done and sharing best practices from the companies that have invested really heavily in it. Most companies aren't going to put a team of 1 or 2 or 3 dozen engineers to only work on notifications. So when we can go out and share, here's what the Slack team is building, and here's Here's how message retraction can work to drive engagement faster without overwhelming your users, right? Here's how the 50 engineers at LinkedIn are building things, right? So, you're not necessarily going to build out a really sophisticated digest engine that helps aggregate the data and decide how much data to release at any given time, but LinkedIn does. And here's how they do it. And help people think through, like, where could this be? And then it's up to the team to decide where does it need to be for their product. And hopefully we can help them get to where they want to go.
I have no doubt in my mind that you can and you will. Obviously, I'm a Courier fanboy, but again, kudos on everything that you've built, Troy. Really appreciate you being on the show. Congrats on the latest round of funding. More fuel to boost the rocket ship yet again into the future of communications.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Noah.
What an amazing conversation with Troy. My big takeaway, the future is exciting when it comes to user communication, notifications, and for Courier. This wraps up this episode of our Notifications North Star series, sponsored by our good friends at Courier. Check out the product at courier.com/codestory to learn more.